Hello everyone. Did you know that a fatal disease affecting the liver and causing massive fluid buildup in the abdomen could be cured not by any drug, but by something as simple as a fine mesh sieve? Today we are going to explore endemic ascites, a foodborne vascular collapse, a localized non-infectious hepatic disease defined by the rapid accumulation of abdominal fluid, jaundice, and the ultimate destruction of liver blood vessels. Let us begin with the historical event that brought this disease into focus. During 1973 and 1976, a severe and rapidly developing epidemic of ascites and jaundice struck the Kusmi block of the Sarguja district. The affected population was the Nagatia tribals. Demographically, this disease struck all ages and both sexes, but inexplicably spared only infants. The outcome was devastating, with a staggering 40% mortality rate among those affected. To understand how this happened, we need to look at the mechanics of contamination. The staple diet of the Nagia tribals shares its fields with a highly toxic weed, and due to primitive coarse mechanical harvesting, the two get processed together. On one side, we have Panicum miliare, locally known as gondali, which is the staple crop. On the other side, we have Crotalaria, locally known as Junjunia, which is the toxic weed. When a coarse sieve is used during harvesting, the seeds of both the crop and the weed mix together. Only when a fine mesh sieve is used does proper mechanical separation occur, keeping the toxic weed seeds out. The chemical agent responsible for this toxicity is a class of compounds called Pyrrolizidine Alkaloids. It is important to understand that Crotalaria weeds are not naturally aggressive toward neighboring plants. Their threat is entirely chemical. The seeds of this weed harbor these pyrrolizidine alkaloids, a potent class of hepatotoxins that the plant uses purely as an evolutionary anti-herbivory defense mechanism. Interestingly, these alkaloids are not inherently destructive upon ingestion. The toxicity is actually synthesized by the host itself, meaning the liver effectively engineers its own localized poison. This happens through an activation curve, beginning with ingestion of the stable pyrrolizidine alkaloids, followed by hepatic metabolism in the liver, which leads to their conversion into highly reactive pyrrolase. Let us walk through the detailed pathophysiology from alkaloid to endothelial destruction. Step 1 is ingestion and metabolism, where contaminated millet is ingested, and in the liver, the pyrrolizidine alkaloids undergo metabolic conversion. Step 2 is reactive transformation, where the liver metabolizes these alkaloids into highly reactive pyrrolase. Step 3 is endothelial targeting, where these pyrrolase act as cellular poisons, specifically targeting and damaging the endothelial lining of the central and sublobular hepatic veins. Step 4 is subendothelial swelling, where this localized damage triggers severe subendothelial swelling and fibrosis. Step 5 is centrilobular necrosis, where the entire cascade culminates in centrilobular liver cell death and non-thrombotic obliteration of the small hepatic venules. This obliteration of small hepatic venules creates what we can call the ascitic climax, a catastrophic mechanical fluid displacement. The obstruction of hepatic venous outflow sharply raises the pressure within the liver's sinusoids. With nowhere else to go, plasma fluid is forced through a process called transudation directly into the peritoneal cavity, resulting in the characteristic ascites, or abdominal fluid accumulation. These pyrrolizidine alkaloids actually produce very different physiological responses depending on which biological kingdom is affected, transforming from a simple defensive tool into an acute human poison. In plants, specifically in Crotalaria itself, the role is chemical defense and the impact is harmless to the plant itself, acting solely as a deterrent against being eaten. In animals, particularly livestock, the role becomes chronic toxicosis, where gradual ingestion leads to lethargy, weight loss, liver fibrosis, and secondary photosensitization. In humans, particularly tribal populations, the role becomes acute vascular collapse with impacts including rapid tense abdominal distension, an enlarged liver known as hepatomegaly, respiratory distress, and fatal liver failure. The clinical progression of this disease in humans moves swiftly from subtle discomfort all the way to total organ failure and mechanical respiratory restriction. Stage 1, the early stage, presents as stubborn upper abdominal discomfort and pain. Stage 2, the acute stage, involves rapid weight gain, tense abdominal distension known as ascites, and an enlarged liver known as hepatomegaly. Stage 3, the advanced stage, brings jaundice and portal hypertension. Stage 4, the terminal stage, involves severe respiratory distress driven mechanically by elevation of the diaphragm, ultimately leading to fatal liver failure. Diagnosing pyrrolizidine alkaloid toxicity involves a comprehensive profile and investigation. Clinical evaluation includes taking a detailed geographic dietary history with a focus on tribal or rural grain consumption, along with a physical examination checking for shifting dullness, indicating ascites and signs of hepatic decompensation. Food analysis involves screening local food supplies using gas chromatography or high performance liquid chromatography mass spectroscopy to detect specific pyrrolizidine alkaloid chemical signatures. Laboratory and histopathology assessment includes blood profiling, which typically shows elevated serum bilirubin, altered transaminases, and notably low serum albumin. Fluid analysis through diagnostic paracentesis yields either a transudative or exudative profile, and liver biopsy provides definitive confirmation through evidence of centrilobular necrosis and hepatic vein occlusion, notably without primary major thrombosis. Since medical intervention is largely supportive once hepatic venous occlusive disease has progressed, true eradication relies entirely on structural interventions applied before consumption, forming what we can call the prevention triad. The first component is agricultural control, involving systematic eradication and de-weeding of Crotalaria species from millet cultivation fields. The second component is mechanical screening, involving rigorous sieving and winnowing of staple grains through fine mesh screens at the household level. The third component is public health education, involving informing rural communities about specific grain cleaning protocols, with heightened monitoring during drought conditions. This brings us to the most remarkable insight of this entire topic. The ultimate intervention is a mechanical cure. Endemic ascites traces a relentless path from soil to liver, but the chain of toxicity is uniquely fragile. Because the Crotalaria seeds are considerably smaller than the millet seeds, the entire physiological cascade can be arrested mechanically at a single intervention point: fine mesh sieving. This simple mechanical step breaks the chain before it can even begin, stopping the progression from weed to toxin to pyrrole to venule blockage to ascites. The cure for this fatal vascular disease is not a drug, it is a sieve. Hope you have understood about the topic Endemic Ascites, a food-borne vascular collapse. If you found this video useful, please like and share with your friends and colleagues. Thank you.